Well, it's bad enough that schools are pushing a leftist agenda in our children's classrooms. Here's more bad news. It's more deceptive than we thought. An explosive new report by Defending Education examines AI guidance, model policies, and training materials from the National Education Association, the American Federation of Teachers, and other education groups, and argues that they promote AI policies in the classroom centered on, you got it, equity and algorithmic bias, right? That's a shocker, huh? All right, joining us for more on this, Senior Fellow and Director of Constitutional Studies for the Manhattan Institute, Ilya Shapiro. We also have with us President of Color Us United and the author of that book, An Inconvenient Minority, Kenny Xu. All right, Ilya, so the report said that the integration of AI into education is not a matter of if, but when. So researchers found that the American Federation of Teachers, which represents more than 1.8 million members, by the way, they launched a $23 million initiative with Microsoft, OpenAI, and Anthropic that the report said is designed to establish AI guardrails for educators. So who should decide what those guardrails are and what could possibly go wrong with this partnership?
Well, it should ultimately be school boards for local accountability and the state governments that are ultimately responsible for kids' education. It doesn't surprise me that the nation's largest teachers union, which always has an ideological perspective, is trying to insinuate that, bake it in to what would otherwise be seemingly non-ideological curriculum and use of AI. But this is definitely a challenge to be dealt with. Not that we have to worry about AI as such. New technology comes, we have to figure out how to integrate it. But this ideological challenge is something to be wary of.
Yeah, and Kenny, the report also highlights that the California Teachers Association's AI guidance encourages educators to consider equity and access when implementing AI, which seems like an official green light. Did we lose him?
Yeah, I'm right here.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, California, as I interpret your question, I just want to piggyback off of what Ilya said, which is that we don't want to let these tech billionaires, Sam Altman from ChatGPT, trying to determine what are the sources that AI should be using to project learning onto the classrooms. I mean, this is terrible because these kinds of corporations like ChatGPT in the past have gotten accused of anti-conservative bias. And anti-conservative bias, by the way, in the education department is anti-Asian bias. It's anti-white and it's anti-Asian bias because Asian Americans are some of the most likely people to want and desire excellence in education, to not want equity in the classroom. And these AI chat models are being trained on equity language, meaning that they're going to be trained on dividing and conquering and attacking Asian merit.
So that, this becomes a big red flag and a warning sign for parents. How do they, Ilya, push back against this before these guidelines basically become embedded?
Well, the same way that parents push back on any curricular changes, you have to pay attention to what's going on at school board meetings, to what your principal is sending home, the information about different changes in how your kids are being taught. AI is a hot issue now, from how much kids are going to be allowed to use AI to do research and write papers to, in this case, what kind of AI they get. And just as we don't want teachers, and parents are clued into this, or have been especially since COVID, they don't want teachers indoctrinating their kids. They don't want tools that are pitched as being neutral, like these AI systems, to also be then indoctrinating the students.
Yeah, and Kenny, let me ask you this. Earlier this month, the Education Secretary, Linda McMahon, she warned Harvard that she's going to drop the hammer on the university if it continues DEI initiatives, which is against federal law. So if the federal government is challenging certain DEI practices in higher education, Should similar scrutiny apply to DEI principles used for the AI tools for classrooms in K through 12? Can the feds get involved in that?
Yeah, I fully support the secretary's push to hold Harvard accountable for 20 plus years, 30 plus years of anti-Asian, anti-merit policy in Harvard admissions. That's what I wrote my book, An Inconvenient Minority, on, which was just displayed earlier. It was all about this crusade to get Asians out of the educational system because of how excellent they are at math, because of how excellent they are at reading. Imagine if those policies are allowed to get into the K-12 classroom, get into the classroom where people are just learning math, and people are now taught by AI chatbots that the person who is advanced in math is just getting there because he's lucky, or the person who is advanced in reading is just advanced because he's privileged, where you're taught to resent the person who is a little bit better ahead in the classroom instead of being taught that, hey, you have an opportunity to catch up to this person as well. If AI has a goal in diversity, equity, and inclusion, AI has to have a goal towards merit. And that's what I'm always going to stand for.
Good points. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.